good day, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in Smart 24 TV and for, of course, getting up to financial markets. This is Anthony, and we are here to give you a little bit of what's happening in the market and get you up to speed with also what is trending currently within the financial market spectrum. Remember to follow us on social media, on X at Smart 24 TV now. You can also get to our YouTube channel, that's at Smart 24 TV Live, for all the content on business in East Africa. Plot 42 Nile Avenue is where we are right now, and we are coming to you live from this exact center of business. And now we are getting to look into the markets. First of all, we are looking at a lot of exciting news coming in from different companies, including MTN Uganda, Airtel Uganda, in as regards the financial statements for the year 2023, ended December 31st. Both telecoms have issued their financial statements, and we are going to be putting them on a weighing scale and looking at which one has more returns. Also, today, looking at the international markets in the United States, there's a sticky CPI or Consumer Price Index reading likely that won't knock off Federal Reserve's course, which has been, of course, the hiking of the central bank rate or the federal bank rate at the United States there. We're going to also be looking at cryptocurrency and the news that is coming in from Bitcoin, whether the big gains are being maintained or not. And I'm so glad that you're going to be riding with me all the way. For all our lovely viewers, thank you. Those of you who give us feedback in the comment section, we really do appreciate that. And you're encouraged to do the same. You're encouraged to also go on our X page and follow us at Smart 24 TV now for all your latest business content. Well, let's dive right into it. Now, Uganda Stock Exchange, as per Tuesday, yesterday, we had at least a trade of over 6.7 million shares. The trading nowadays is getting more and more exciting. Like I said, it's a season of results. It's a season of issuing financial statements. It's a season of getting to know who is who in the market at the moment. Now, looking at the Uganda Stock Exchange trading on Tuesday, however, there was a decline of 45% in the turnover and a decline of 49%. Well, this was based on the back of Monday's overwhelming performance from stocks like Bank of Baroda Uganda, Wumeme, and Stanbic Bank Uganda as well. So that's why we recorded a decline slightly, but still the decline is not as great. Looking at, for example, data here from the exchange, a single stock, Wumeme, traded over 5,888,000 shares on Tuesday, even by Tuesday evening, closing off the day with a price of 400 shillings, and a very great turnover there that we'll be sharing as well with you. The stock exchange is also maintaining a quite high market capitalization at a closing mark of 17.5 trillion Ugandan shillings at the moment. In aggregate, all the 6 equities participated in trade, ending the day with 8 gainers, and impressively, there were no losers on the market. Now, looking at the top gainers, East African Breweries Limited came in first with a gain of 10.15%. On the back of the strengthening Kenyan currency, Kenyan stocks have become quite stronger with time, and they have kept a very great position that they have managed to balance out. Now, at a 10.15% appreciation in price, East African Breweries Limited closed off the day with a price of 3,214 Ugandan shillings. Jubilee Holdings Limited as well came in with the 5,303 shillings closing price after a gain of 3.16%. Centum Investments also led with a gain of 2.17% and closed off at 250.99 shillings. All these are cross-listed stocks. And interestingly, when you look at the Kenyan Stock Exchange, there's also been a few improvements here and there, basically because of the currency that is becoming a little bit stronger with time. Now, NMG or Nation Media Group closed off with a gain of 0.58% up to at least 564.59 shillings, whereas MTN Uganda at least closed off with a total gain of 0.57%. MTN has kept a very great performance recently, with a few small gains every single day from last week on Friday, and now the stock is at 171.96 Ugandan shillings. Talking a little bit more about MTN Uganda, looking at their market capitalization, currently it stands at 3.85 trillion. For our new viewers, when we talk about the market capitalization, really we are talking about the value of the shares of that particular company on the stock exchange. Now, MTN Uganda is currently having over at least about 22.4 billion shillings, rather 22.4 billion shares that are listed. And when you multiply these by the current share price, which is 171.96 shillings, you come up with at least over 3.85 trillion. That makes the company the second most valuable, coming behind Equity Bank Limited. Equity Bank Limited is the most valuable, but however, this doesn't mean that it's more popular to investors or in any way is more active. No, the thing is about market capitalization, it's dependent on the price and the shares outstanding. When the shares outstanding increase, you definitely expect, and the price is maintained, you definitely expect the market capitalization to grow in the same direction. But also, even when the shares remain stationary, if we have a particular number of shares and we have a rise in price, definitely the market capitalization will follow suit. At the moment, current performance of MTN in 1 week has been a gain of 1.15%, which we are still counting on yesterday's gain of at least 0.97 shillings. However, in terms of 4-week performance, the counter has also improved by 1.37%, and then last 3 months, at least 1.07% improvement has been witnessed on the current price of MTN stock. Now, MTN closed with a 171.96 shillings price. However, it began this year with 170.55 shillings, meaning the year-to-date performance has also been a gain of 0.83%. In the last 3 months as well, from the 1st of December to the 12th of March, the company has recorded a total volume or a maximum volume of 8.67 million shares that have been traded, and the total turnover from this has been 1.49 billion. When we talk about turnover, we're really talking about the total value of transactions. Every transaction is recorded as a buy or a sell. Every time investors are buying and selling, we record that as a turnover, the amount of money that accrues from those transactions. Now, in the last 3 months, you can imagine 1.49 billion has been accrued on MTN stock alone. That means it's really one of the most popular stocks for most of the investors here on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, on average, MTN has been trading at least 137,679 shares and per trading session, at a volume high of 3.69 million was achieved on the 11th of March 2024. That was on Monday, and I told you about this volume. Now, this was a volume of 3.69 million shares that was recorded on Monday. Very exciting day. The 11th of March really will go down in history as I think probably one of the busiest trading days for the exchange in the first quarter. We saw 3.69 million shares, for example, traded on MTN, and the company gained 0.99 shillings or a 0.58% on their market value or on their current share price. So it has been a really great start of the week, and we're really excited and can't wait to see how this week is going to be going for all the other stocks. But let's have a look here at some of the highlights of the performances from the two telecoms. And before I do that, Airtel Uganda did not trade yesterday, neither has it traded this week. No, actually, we had some 1,500 shares traded, yes, at a closing price of 87 shillings, but gained or lost any value on the share price there after this trading. Airtel is currently the latest listing on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with its listing dating back in November 7th, 2023. The stock is valued at 379 billion shillings, making about 2.16% of the entire equity market, or the entire Uganda Securities Exchange stock market at the moment. This 1,500 shares accrued a total of 130,000 shares, rather shillings, at the exchange. Now, in the last 3 months, the company is the 7th most traded on stock, and from the 1st of December to the 12th of March, Airtel Uganda has traded at least about 489,000 shares or so, at a total value of 45.7 million. Now tell me in the comment section, how could you compare those two, MTN and Airtel, with the trading volume of, one has a trading volume of over about 4 million, and another one has about 400,000, and then the other stock has a stock value of turnover of about 3.8, about 1.96 billion, and this one has about 45 million. It's really hard to compare, right? And yes, that's how I will leave that to you, really. But that's exactly what is happening right now on the exchange. Looking at the financial statements, let's see the highlights for MTN here. MTN, some of the highlights, we saw a jump in revenue by 11.6% to 1.1 trillion, or 1,117 billion. And the data revenue also was increased by 21.6% within the period to at least 621.9 million billion Ugandan shillings. Then the fintech revenue also rose by 17.6% up to over 771.6 billion. And then earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, famously known as the EBITDA, at least rose to 1.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. That is a 16.3% growth there in the profits of the company. Really, the only downside I see of this is, of course, the increase in capital expenditure, excluding the right use assets, which at least rose to 5.5% to over 353 billion. The EBITDA margin, or the earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization margin, also grew by at least 51.4%. The profit after tax was also 493 billion, making at least 21.4% rise. Now, what is in here for the shareholders? Let's have a look at the dividend here, and this is what most of the shareholders are really interested in at the moment. Looking at the dividend, the final dividend recommendation in the notice issued by MTN, and I'm just going to do it verbatim. The notice is hereby given that the company's directors have proposed the payment of the final dividend of 6.4 Ugandan shillings per share, and this is about 143.2 billion for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. This is subject to deduction of withholding taxes, the number of ordinary shares in issue at the date of this declaration, and that is about 22 million shares. In compliance with the requirements of the USE listing rules 2021, the salient dates are as follows. And this is very important for you, especially those who want to be able to participate or partake of this dividend. The book closure date is the 4th of June 2024. Book closure date means that if you don't buy shares in MTN by that date, forget about the dividend. Forget about the dividend. And the book closure date for MTN is 4th of June 2024. Very important date there. The dividend payment date, which is also very important, is going to be Friday, the 21st of June 2024. That's when they will be cashing in that dividend. Analyzing this dividend of 6.4 shillings, we are really saying that this is a very good move by MTN. For the past 2 years where MTN has been listed, their dividend has been growing. We started way back with a dividend of 4 shillings. We rose to at least 5, then we went into 5 point something. Now we are at 6.4 shillings per share. You may not see this as significant, but imagine someone at the IPO who invested 200 million. I'll start with the big boys there. If they invested 200 million, then because the price then for the IPO or the opening price was at least 200 shillings, that means they would be in possession of 1 million shares. Right now, they would be partaking over 6.4 million. But not only that, if you look at the whole accumulation of dividends since the first quarter of 2023, really there has been, actually when you look way back in 2022, 2023, the company has really tried, and the growth is really evident when you look at the growth in the company, and the dividend has been growing. So the amount of value that is being accrued over time is really worth it for investors that have put aside money to invest in the company. In line with the US e-trading rules, the ex-dividend date will also be Wednesday, 29th of May 2024. Accordingly, an investor who buys MTN shares on or behalf or before this date will be entitled to the final dividend. That is the ex-dividend date. It's the 29th of May. All right. And any investors buying MTN shares after the 29th of May will not be entitled to the final dividend that will be issued by the company. The dividend will also be transferred electronically to the bank accounts or mobile money wallets of shareholders upon approval at the annual general meeting. And that's it from MTN Uganda. Let's have a look at Airtel. What is in there for us at Airtel Uganda? For Airtel Uganda, in summary, getting to the basics. Revenue, for example, Airtel achieved a growth of at least 11.5% in revenue to a tune of 1.7 trillion. Now, when you compare that with MTN, let's see what we had for MTN Uganda. We had some big amount there of about 15% growth. So they beat them by the growth. But also, as if that is not enough, data revenue and value-added services saw significant growth at Airtel in the past year, reaching at least over 776 billion shillings to a tune of 600 from at least 657 billion in the past year. This increase was also primarily driven by a rise in data revenue, data usage and consumption. The operating profits in 2023 also were 592 billion, an operating margin of about 33.32%. And the operating profit for the year 2023, according to Airtel, was impacted by an increase in the site running costs due to the increase in rental and energy costs on the addition of at least 399 sites. The profit for the year, profit before tax, was 427 billion compared to 474 billion before in the year 2022. However, the company reported a profit after tax of 297 billion shillings compared to 326 billion. So even the profits reduced a little for Airtel. This was mainly as a result of strong revenue performance, especially due to efficiencies in the macroeconomic structures and a committed team of Airtel staff, according to the company. That's from Airtel. Looking at the dividend at Airtel, remember MTN was issuing 6.4 shillings, and then dividends for Airtel here, subject to the approval of shareholders. According to the directors, they recommended a final dividend of 2.15 shillings. Yeah, that's it from Airtel. That you can get the results really on your iPad. You can get them on your phone and get to review further. I'll also be hosting a few people on the show to give us more on what these results mean for the company, but also for shareholders. Are they sufficient? Is there something we need to do? Are the companies promising? These are questions that you and I, as investors, need to keep asking if you're to make the right decisions in regards to investment. Well, that's it from the telecoms. Enough of the telecoms. Looking at other institutions, Stanbic Bank Uganda had 380,668 shares traded and a closing price of 32.5 shillings. As usual, Stanbic really maintained a good performance. And Wumeme, yes, I almost forgot about Wumeme. 5.8 million shares at 400 shillings. That's what we had for Wumeme here yesterday, which was a very great performance as well from the company that is soon exiting Uganda and delisting. Now, USE indices performed well as well, and the USE All-Share Index, which is the benchmark index, just increased by 13.6% up to 13.6 points, which is about 1.47%, up to 945 points. And this was on the back of the gainers who are actually very resilient, especially the domestic and cross-listed stocks. USE Local Company Index increased by 0.2% up to 266.66 points, making it a one-week gain of 0.52% and a whole year-to-date loss of 1.91%. Meaning the domestic listings are also performing quite well, and the cross-listed stocks are bringing up a good competition as well on the market. Let's have a look at Nairobi real quick before moving into the international news here. Now, Nairobi Securities Exchange has 66 listings, and amongst these, at least over 29 listings participated in trade, which is the lowest number of stocks that have participated in a single day this year. Now, a total of 12 gainers was recorded and 11 losers, and the total number of deals was 186, corresponding to a market value of 6.9 million Kenyan shillings. And when you look at this trading for Monday, for Tuesday rather, when you compare it with Monday's trade, there was a decline of 94% in the volume and 96% in the turnover, and about 77% decline in the deals. Now, why could be the problem be here? Now, Kenya, when you look at Nairobi's macroeconomic structure, there has been a weakness on the side of the currency, the forex. We've had challenges of liquidity as well on the exchange, and the influx of foreign investors leaving the market. Those are some of the challenges that have been highlighted. But for some stocks, there has been a lot of wins. For example, Wumeme appreciated by 3.57%. Yes, Wumeme is being appreciated as well on the Nairobi Securities Exchange as much as it is on the USE. Home Africa maintained 3.23%, and I&M Holdings at least appreciated by 2.45%. On the losing side, TransCentury unfortunately is still performing poorly with a loss of 8.51%. And then Uchumi Supermarket and Stanbic Holdings as well as Bamburi also came amongst the losers. The biggest trader for the day was Kenya Reinsurance Corporation with at least 85,900 shares. Very low volumes, very low turnovers for a Kenyan market that we know. But the OSHA index increased, fortunately, with a 1.18 points jump up to 96.7 points. And this was followed by the NSE 10 with a 0.5% appreciation, the NSE 20 at a 0.25% depreciation, and the NSE 25 at an appreciation of 0.56. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning into Smart 24 TV. We'll give you all the updates as they unfold. You can always give us feedback as well through the comment section. We'll be able to get that feedback home. That's it from us tonight. I'll see you at the end of the week. We'll be giving you updates on the more of the financial statements that are being released and getting you expert opinions as well on the performance of these companies. For now, keep saving, keep investing.
Smart 24, driving business.
Bulu magic is my joy. Ono bulu magic wange. Ayo Nalaba kumabala atukuza nonyirirawo kirako nyange tayisa bubi fabriki kyonna kyekiri kigwa lwa bulu magic is my choice. Ono bulu magic ye wange.